chosen one, this moment is not random. You didn't stumble on this message by chance. God has been guiding every step, every pause, every delay to bring you right here, right now. This is divine alignment. Heaven's treasury has been opened and your name, yes, your name is written on a financial release that no man can revoke. This isn't ordinary. This isn't emotional hype or vague encouragement. This is sacred. It is sealed. It has been held in reserve for the exact moment your heart and heaven collided in faith. That moment is now. God is saying to you, congratulations. I've assigned abundance to your life. I've released resources, favor, and provision into motion. But you must listen. If you ignore this message, you will not receive what has already been sent in your name. This is not a threat. It's a warning spoken in love. Because what's being released carries weight. It carries purpose. And it requires attention. God doesn't want you distracted, doubting, or disconnected right before the vault breaks open. Right now, angels are being dispatched with instructions. Miracles are in movement. Your name is active in the realm of heaven. And the vault that was once sealed is now open. But you must stay engaged. If you turn away too soon, if you scroll past or tune this out, you risk forfeiting what you've been praying, fasting, and crying for in secret. This is not just a message. It is a holy invitation, a key to unlock what's been delayed, not denied. Heaven is watching. Hell is nervous. The earth is shifting. And your divine financial flood is ready to pour. Chosen one, there is a spiritual transaction unfolding even as your eyes meet these words. This is not just a moment of inspiration, it is a moment of movement. While your natural world may seem still, the spiritual realm is not. God has dispatched angels on assignment carrying specific instructions tied directly to your deliverance. These aren't symbolic visions or poetic metaphors. These are real movements in the heavenly dimension, sent to break strongholds, open ancient gates, and deliver what has been delayed. You may not see the wings, but you will feel the shift. At the same time, your adversary is not sitting idle. When God releases something divine, the enemy responds with distraction. He can't revoke what God has already blessed, so he tries to divert your focus. He whispers lies into your mind. This is too good to be true. This word isn't really for you. Don't get your hopes up again. These voices are not just passing thoughts, they are strategies meant to pull you out of position right before the breakthrough. Because the enemy knows what many forget miracles require. Presence, not perfection. If you're not paying attention, if your heart drifts away in doubt, you'll miss what's already been set in motion. If this word pierced your spirit, declare it in the comments. 99. My name is on the vault. I receive it. Don't just read, respond. Let your faith echo back to heaven and shake the gates of delay. This is your divine moment. This is your release. God has not forgotten your pain. He remembers the hunger you carried in silence, the nights you stayed awake wrestling with hope and despair. Every tear, every prayer, every unanswered cry has been counted and stored. Heaven has never once looked away. As C.S. Lewis profoundly wrote, in The Weight of Glory, there are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. You chosen one are no mere mortal. Your eternal significance has drawn heaven's unwavering gaze, ensuring your pain is remembered and now answered. And now, at this precise hour that hunger is being answered, that pain is being honored. God is sending not just provision, but evidence that he was listening the whole time. But the release depends on your agreement. The vault is open, but you must walk through the door. This is bigger than money. This is about territory, legacy, and destiny. You are standing at the threshold of something holy, something that was written before time began. And if you walk away now distracted or unsure, you give the enemy permission to tamper with what God wrote in stone. So stay rooted, stay engaged. Heaven is not passive in this moment, and neither should you be. The blessing is real, the warfare is real, but your victory is certain. if you remain where God has called you to stand. Chosen one, what God is releasing into your life is not just financial, it is comprehensive. It is not merely about numbers in a bank account or bills being paid. That would be too small for the kind of God you serve. No, this is deeper. This is wider. This is a blessing designed to touch the very fabric of who you are, body, mind, spirit, and legacy. God is not just sending money. He's sending restoration, protection, and healing in places you didn't even know were bleeding. You see, the vault of heaven holds more than gold. It holds peace that silences the torment in your mind. It holds strength that renews your bones when exhaustion becomes normal. It holds clarity for every foggy decision, warmth for every cold season, and calm for every storm you didn't ask for but had to survive anyway. God isn't just responding to your financial needs, He's answering the emotional wounds you stopped talking about. He's stepping into the parts of your life you thought were too ordinary or too broken for divine attention. He saw the moment your heart broke in silence, when no one else noticed your eyes filling with tears behind closed doors. He witnessed the confusion, the frustration, the guilt you carried for not being further along by now. And He never turned away. Every whispered prayer, every sigh too deep for words, every sacred moment where you chose faith instead of bitterness, He recorded it all. As C.S. Lewis wrote in The Problem of Pain, pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Your pain, chosen one, was God's megaphone rousing you to receive His comprehensive restoration now unfolding. And now, He is responding with an answer tailored to your pain and your purpose. This is more than a breakthrough. It's a rebuilding, a total reordering of what was fractured. Where you've lost joy, it will be restored. Where your confidence was stolen, it will return multiplied. Where relationships have torn at your identity, God will bring healing that surpasses human understanding. The blessing He is sending isn't a surface-level patch. It is a deep work of repair that only heaven can perform. And when it arrives, it will not just change your circumstances, it will change you. This is not the kind of moment to measure with logic or spreadsheets. This is a move of God, a divine encounter. And your job is not to figure out how your job is to receive, fully, boldly, openly, because what's coming will touch more than your wallet. It will restore your soul. Chosen one, you are not here by accident. You didn't land on this message by scrolling randomly or clicking out of curiosity. This is not a motivational moment you can take lightly. This is a divine appointment, a sacred moment that was written into your timeline long before you were born. God orchestrated every step that brought you to this very word, and heaven is now leaning in, waiting for your heart to recognize it. You've questioned why certain doors closed, why people walked away, why life felt delayed when you gave so much and prayed so hard. But what you didn't see was how God was moving in the background, closing what needed to be shut, rerouting you away from danger, preparing a moment like this where everything would begin to make sense. You felt lost, but you were being led. You felt forgotten, but God was clearing space for something far greater than you imagined. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was preparation for alignment. Right now, the atmosphere around your life is shifting. This isn't just another day. This is a turning point. God has drawn you here, not just to encourage you, but to invite you into the greatest divine exchange of your life. He's exchanging confusion for clarity, fear for boldness, lack for legacy. But it starts with recognition. You must see this for what it truly is. A holy moment, a burning bush in the middle of your ordinary day, a whisper from eternity that says, you were meant for more, and that more begins now. God's timing is never rushed and never late. He brings people into divine moments like this, not when they feel ready, but when heaven declares, now. You are standing in a now moment, a moment where your past no longer defines you, and your future is waiting to be claimed. This isn't hype. This is heaven. And heaven does not waste words. So, breathe in. Open your spirit. Don't try to explain this away. This is not just another inspiring message. This is a divine encounter. You have been summoned by God, and heaven is waiting for your yes. Chosen one. You've endured more than most will ever know. You've lost time, precious years, stolen by confusion, fear, or betrayal. You've lost peace traded for anxiety, survival, or the weight of constant responsibilities. And you've lost joy, that deep inner light that once made your heart leap freely, but now flickers faintly beneath the surface. But today God is speaking over the ashes. He's not just promising restoration, he's already begun it. What the locusts devoured, God is commanding to return. What life took, what trauma drained, what people destroyed, God is reaching into all of it with hands that restore, not just replace. This restoration won't come in the form of compensation, it will come as transformation. God doesn't simply give back what you had. He gives you what you were always meant to carry, but couldn't until now, and now you are ready. This release has already started in the spirit realm. You may not feel it yet, but it's already moving. Right now, unseen forces are being realigned. Conversations are shifting. Opportunities are forming. Finances are being redirected. And all of it is orbiting around your obedience, around your willingness to say yes, to believe again, to not walk away when it's easier to doubt. This is not about begging God to bless you. He's already decided to do it. This is about you stepping into the flow that has been opened in your name. Don't let the enemy distract you. This is exactly the kind of moment he fears when a chosen one wakes up and realizes what belongs to them. The enemy has tried everything to wear you down: delay, confusion, disappointment, even betrayal, but none of it worked. You're still here, and that alone is proof of how much power still lives in you. Don't let the noise steal the word. What you're reading now carries the very authority to turn your situation around by the time the sun goes down. You've felt it, haven't you? That sense that something bigger was waiting just beyond your reach. That unshakable knowing that there's more for you, more purpose, more impact, more light. You didn't know how to access it, but your spirit could feel it, building. That was never delusion. That was God setting the stage. Not just preparing the blessing, but preparing you. And now the blessing and the vessel are ready to collide. This is your collision moment. This is restoration in motion. And what's coming next won't just return what was taken, it will redefine what you believe is possible. Chosen one, what felt like delay was never delay in God's eyes. It was divine alignment. It was sacred preparation. The blessing has always existed, already written in heaven, already bearing your name. But God wasn't just preparing the breakthrough, He was preparing you. And preparation always takes time. The pain you endured didn't disqualify you. It equipped you. The waiting didn't hold you back. It built you up. What you thought was God holding out on you was really God holding space for the perfect moment for you and the blessing to meet in full maturity. You've spent so long sensing something just beyond your reach, feeling like you were standing at the edge of a breakthrough but unable to touch it. That spiritual tension wasn't a sign of rejection. It was a signal of nearness. God was crafting both the blessing and the vessel in parallel. He was strengthening your discernment so that you wouldn't settle for anything less than what's truly yours. He was maturing your spirit so that when abundance arrived, it wouldn't crush you, it would elevate you. You weren't just waiting for it. It was also waiting for you to become the person who could carry it well. Think back to all those silent seasons when you obeyed, with no applause, served with no recognition, sowed with no visible harvest. Those weren't empty days. They were the sacred hidden years. They were the forging ground where heaven shaped your endurance, carved out your faith, and sharpened your ability to see beyond circumstance. You didn't just survive them, you grew through them. And God was watching every moment, quietly taking account, faithfully storing every act of obedience, every tear that fell in worship, every time you chose to stay when it would have been easier to leave. Now something in the spirit has shifted. You have crossed a line. This is a divine collision point where your internal readiness meets heaven's external release. This is the moment where what was once too heavy for you is now what you were built to carry. God isn't bringing it early, and He's certainly not late. He's right on time because the old version of you couldn't handle what He's about to pour. But the version of you that stands here today, refined, resilient, humbled, awake, this you is ready. So don't question why it took so long. Don't grieve the pace. Don't wish it had come earlier, because now it will last. Now it will multiply. Now it will glorify God, not drain you. What once would have broken you will now build you. And the blessing that felt delayed is about to arrive in a way that will prove it was never denied. It was always reserved. This isn't a breakthrough falling randomly from the sky. This is an arrival perfectly timed by the hands of God. And you are finally ready to walk into what was always yours. Chosen one right now, in the unseen realm. Angels are moving with assignments that no amount of human effort or money could ever accomplish. These are not ordinary visitations. These are divine enforcers sent by God to confront ancient gates and shatter chains that have wrapped themselves around your family line for generations. You are not just receiving wealth. You are standing in a moment of supernatural reformation. What's unfolding isn't just a blessing, it's a holy invasion. These angels are not here to comfort. They are here to war on your behalf. They have been dispatched with blueprints and spiritual keys. They are tearing down walls that your bloodline has never been able to cross, walls built by trauma, betrayal, addiction, scarcity, shame. Walls held together by curses passed down like inheritance. But now those walls are being torn apart by hands that carry the authority of heaven itself. What once kept your family bound is now being confronted with divine force. And what is being opened? Doors that have been shut for so long you stopped even looking for them. Doors of legacy, doors of healing, doors of vision. Doors that lead not just to external opportunities, but to inner freedom. These aren't symbolic doors. They are generational gates, long held shut by spiritual patterns you never chose but have had to carry. But heaven has chosen you to end the pattern, to be the one who breaks what no one else could. The one who says, "It ends with me." This is why the warfare has felt so intense, because you were never just fighting for yourself. You were fighting for your bloodline, for your children, for your children's children. This wealth that's coming isn't just financial, it's restorative. It's the kind of blessing that rewrites bloodlines and reclaims stolen destinies. It's wealth, with a mission wrapped in healing, charged with divine purpose. And it's already in motion. The resistance you felt is not failure. It's friction because you're moving against the gravitational pull of every curse that tried to keep you small. But you're not small. You were never meant to be. And now heaven is proving it. With angels, with access, and with a blessing that will leave no part of your life untouched. This is not just a new chapter. This is the breaking of a generational ceiling. And you're the one heaven chose to rise through it. Chosen one. You were never invisible to God. Not once. Every betrayal, every moment of abandonment, every time you were overlooked by people who should have protected or celebrated you, God was there. He watched it all. He felt the sting of every word that cut you, every door that slammed in your face, every moment when you held your breath to keep from crying. While others moved on, dismissed your value, or misunderstood your heart, heaven stood still and took record. And now God is ready to respond. As C.S. Lewis wrote in letters to Malcolm chiefly, on prayer, joy is the serious business of heaven. This response, chosen one, is heaven's serious business radiating a holy joy as God's blessing vindicates your endurance with divine glory. You may have thought that silence meant God forgot, but He didn't. He was storing up justice. He was gathering every tear into His hands, not to pity you, but to turn your pain into proof. Proof that what you endured was not for nothing. Proof that your heart, though bruised, was never broken beyond repair. Proof that what tried to destroy you only positioned you to carry a kind of blessing that will silence every mocking voice. This blessing is not just provision, it's vindication, it's restoration of dignity, it's the healing of identity. What God is releasing now will speak louder than your explanations ever could. You won't need to justify your journey or defend your story. The fruit of this next season will speak for you. The favor on your life will answer every lie. The transformation will be so visible, so undeniable, that even those who doubted you will have no choice but to say, only God could have done this. God is not responding to your enemies. He's responding to your endurance. He's not paying people back. He's lifting you up, not as revenge, but as redemption, because you stayed faithful when it didn't make sense, because you kept showing up with a surrendered heart, because you chose healing over hate, growth over bitterness, purpose over pride. This moment isn't about what they did. It's about what God is doing now. You didn't suffer because you were weak. You were entrusted with pain because you were called to carry glory. And now that glory is beginning to rise, not as a spotlight but as a seal, a heavenly mark that says, this one was tried in fire. This one didn't quit. This one is mine. What once looked like punishment was always preparation. And now God is placing in your hands a blessing that doesn't just restore what you lost, it redefines who you are. And this time no one can take it from you. Chosen one, the abundance God is releasing into your life is not just to comfort you, it's to commission you. This is not the end of a survival story. This is the beginning of a kingdom assignment. You were not preserved through pain, protected through fire, and promoted through hidden seasons just to accumulate things. You were prepared to become a vessel, one through whom the blessing flows, not one who hoards it and hides. What you are about to receive will not stop with you. It will move through you like a river with divine direction. God is trusting you with more, because He can trust your heart. He saw how you gave when you barely had. He watched you pray for others, while your own soul ached for relief. He witnessed how you blessed even when you were bleeding, how you stayed generous in dry seasons, and how you carried others in prayer when no one was carrying you. And now heaven is saying, I can use this one. I can entrust this one. The wealth, the resources, the influence, the favor, they all have purpose attached. You will become an answer to the same cries you once cried. You will lift the very kind of burdens that nearly broke you. The healing you receive will overflow into others. The wisdom you gained through weeping will become someone else's lifeline. This is how God works. He redeems not just what was lost, but multiplies it for impact. So don't shrink when the blessing shows up. Don't apologize when the doors open wide. Don't question if you're worthy. You are not being elevated for ego. You're being positioned for purpose. The world may not understand it. They don't have to, because heaven already confirmed it. This isn't just financial promotion. It's spiritual assignment. And everything you're about to receive has been tailored for the call on your life. So receive it with boldness. Steward it with grace. Walk in it with fire. Because this blessing isn't random. It's sacred. And it's being placed in your hands for you, for others, and for the glory of God. Chosen one. You are not merely being noticed. You are being celebrated in the courts of heaven. For so long you've walked through seasons where it felt like no one truly saw you. You gave your best and received little in return. You loved deeply and were left empty. You prayed, served, carried, endured, and yet the recognition never came. But God saw every unseen moment, and now He is standing you in the light. This isn't about earthly applause. This is about heavenly validation. God Himself has placed His hand upon your life and said, "This one is mine." While others questioned your worth, God confirmed your value. While people whispered about your flaws, heaven recorded your faith. You were never overlooked by the one who matters most. And in this season, God is doing publicly what He's always known, Privately, you are chosen, favored, and set apart. Every lie spoken against you is losing its power. Every curse, every rumor, every shadow of shame is being silenced, not by your defense, but by God's endorsement. He has declared you ready. He has appointed you for honor, and He is releasing favor that no human can block. The very atmosphere around your name is shifting. What once carried rejection is now carrying anointing. Where doors were shut in your face, they are now swinging open with divine welcome. Even the demons that tried to delay you, those invisible forces that stirred confusion, drained your joy, and clouded your mind, are now silenced. Not by your striving, but by God's authority. They recognize something before you did, that you carry weight in the Spirit, that you are not average, that you are dangerous to the darkness. That's why the warfare was so intense, because your rising is a threat to every chain that held generations before you. But now the seal of heaven is resting on you. The pain did not disqualify you. It proved you. And God is using the very things that broke you to build the stage for your release. This isn't your imagination. This is your confirmation. You are no longer hidden. You are heaven's anointed. And your name is echoing through realms that once tried to erase you. Chosen one, it may have felt like God was taking too long. You saw others pass you. You watched promises come to life for people who never paid the price you paid in silence. You prayed earnestly, sowed, faithfully believed with trembling hands, and still you waited, and then waited some more. You questioned yourself. You wondered if you missed something, if maybe you didn't pray hard enough, speak loud enough, believe deep enough. But God was never measuring your timeline. He was guarding your outcome. And what you called delay was actually His hand positioning you beyond what your mind could have calculated. The truth is, the blessing you asked for wasn't small. It carried generational weight, and anything carrying that kind of glory cannot be rushed. God is not interested in flash. He is after fruit. The blessing He's preparing for you is not decorative, it's foundational. It will shift your legacy, restore your name, and realign your entire spiritual bloodline. But before He handed it over, He had to ensure that the vessel could hold what was coming, not out of doubt, but out of love. Because what good is it to be blessed publicly if you're not rooted privately? So He allowed the silence. He permitted the slowness, not because He was cruel, but because He was carving something eternal inside you. He wasn't just watching you wait, He was in the waiting with you. Every tear that fell collected, every silent prayer recorded, every battle you didn't talk about but fought through anyway counted, and every time you wanted to quit but whispered, "God, help me stay," that became holy ground. Not one moment was wasted, not one breath unnoticed. You thought you were being overlooked, but God was building you in secret. He was stretching your capacity while keeping you covered. He was maturing your discernment so you wouldn't mistake counterfeit for covenant. And while others may have received early, what they received came with weight they weren't prepared to carry. But you, because you let Him refine, you will not just carry the blessing, you'll carry it with character, with clarity, and with deep authority. Now the atmosphere is shifting. Something is opening in the Spirit. You're standing in the kind of moment where heaven whispers, "Now they're ready." The delay wasn't random. It was divine calibration. The very thing you begged for in year 1 is being fulfilled in year 5, but this time you're no longer fragile. You're no longer anxious. You're no longer asking, "Will it come?" You're walking in the peace of someone who knows, when it does come, I'll be ready to keep it. So release the shame of how long it took. Release the fear that somehow you missed it. You didn't miss it. You were being shaped for it. The delay was never about denial. It was about divine development. And now you are not just walking into the promise, you're becoming the person the promise requires. And that chosen one is the real miracle. Chosen one, let this truth settle deep into your spirit. You were never called because you had it all together. You weren't chosen because you were flawless, fearless, or strong enough to carry the weight of your calling alone. You were chosen because even in the middle of brokenness you said yes. While others performed, you surrendered. While others sought applause, you chased after presence. You didn't have all the answers, but you gave God your heart. And that is what set you apart. He never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to be yielded. He never demanded perfection. He looked for trust. And through every moment of struggle, weakness, and confusion, you kept coming back. You kept showing up. You kept lifting your eyes. That is what heaven honors. Not a spotless record, but a surrendered heart. Your faith may have wavered, but you never walked away. You may have stumbled, but you fell forward. And every time you fell, God caught you not to condemn, but to carry you forward into deeper maturity and greater glory. Even when you questioned your worth, even when you replayed your failures and wondered if they disqualified you, God never changed his mind about you. Others may have walked away when you showed your weakness, but God leaned in closer. He whispered mercy over your shame. He wrapped grace around your insecurity. He covered what you tried to hide and said, "You're still mine." There is no flaw in you that God cannot use, no mistake too great that his purpose cannot redeem. His call on your life is not fragile. It is sealed with eternal love. You are chosen not in spite of your past, but with full knowledge of it. God saw every misstep before he ever called your name. He factored in your failure and still placed greatness inside you. That's why the enemy has fought your identity so violently, because he knows the weight you carry. He knows you've been marked by heaven, and that even with everything you've gone through, your spirit still bows to the one who called you. That's power. That's authority. That's what makes you dangerous in the spirit. And now in this season, God is affirming your identity, not as a broken vessel limping toward grace, but as a refined warrior, bruised maybe, but bold, chosen, and deeply covered. You are not an accident. You are not a project. You are not barely making it. You are hand-picked, deeply known, and fully seen. The seal of heaven is on your life, not because you did everything right, but because you chose to keep walking even when it all went wrong. So lift your head. Stop rehearsing your failures. Stop apologizing for who you are. Heaven is not ashamed of you. You are not a backup plan. You are God's intentional design for this exact moment in history, and your calling is still intact. Chosen one, the battle has been long, the pressure has been suffocating, and there were moments you wondered if the struggle would ever break. You got used to surviving. You learned how to smile while bleeding. You taught yourself how to function while empty, how to push forward even when your soul begged for rest. But God is declaring over you now, this is not how your story ends. This is the season of reversal. You will not stay where the enemy left you. Everything is shifting. Even if your natural eyes can't see it yet, something has already moved in the spirit. The cycles are breaking. The patterns are collapsing. The warfare is coming to an end. You are no longer circling the same pain, the same confusion, the same silence. That season is over. Heaven has sounded the alarm, and the atmosphere around your name is changing. What once resisted you will now recognize you. What once drained you will no longer have access to you. What once delayed you will now be the very thing God uses to accelerate you. You've entered a divine turning point, a holy moment where the years of drought are being answered with floods of favor. The prayers that seemed ignored are echoing back with power. What was taken from you is being returned, multiplied. But even greater than that, God is doing something inside you. He's awakening joy where there was numbness. He's restoring clarity where there was fog. He's lifting the heaviness that tried to convince you that breakthrough wasn't coming. It is coming. In fact, it's already begun. And as this new season unfolds, you will walk with different posture. You won't have to fight the same battles. You won't carry the same emotional exhaustion. The warfare that wore you down was evidence of how valuable your destiny truly is. But now the tide has turned. God is going before you, not just to defend you, but to establish you. He's not simply bringing you out of survival, he's ushering you into overflow. This will not be a repeat of old pain. This will be a new thing, and it will bear God's fingerprints all over it. So breathe differently now. Expect differently. Speak differently. You are not under the weight of warfare anymore. You are under the wind of divine favor, and everything attached to your name is about to rise. Chosen one, you don't have to figure it all out. You don't need to know exactly when, how, or through whom the blessing will come. That's not your burden to carry. God never asked you to map the miracle. He asked you to trust the one who authored it. The breakthrough ahead of you isn't dependent on your understanding. It's unfolding because God already wrote the final scene, and in His version, you don't lose. You may have walked through fire, but you're coming out without even the smell of smoke. You may have stood in storms, but you're stepping into stillness. The places where you once wept in silence will now be filled with laughter. The very valley that crushed you will become the soil where your fruit multiplies. And all of it will be for God's glory. You won't have to force open doors. You won't have to beg for favor. You won't have to perform for love. The grace that carried you here will now lift you higher than you thought possible. And it will not be temporary. It will be sustained. God is not just releasing provision. He's releasing you from every weight that kept you tied to fear. This is not about material increase alone. This is about alignment. This is about peace that silences the noise in your head. This is about stability so rooted in God's presence that no storm can uproot it. You are not just being elevated, you are being made whole. You are stepping into a life that reflects God's intention, not your trauma. A life that carries rhythm, purpose, and holy rest. And when the blessings come, and they will come, don't forget who sustained you when no one else saw you. Don't forget the nights when your only strength was a whisper of faith. Remember that it was never your striving that unlocked this. It was your surrender, and it will be your worship, not your worry, that keeps the heavens open over you. So take the next step, even if it's small, even if your hands are still trembling, because the moment you move in trust, heaven moves with you. You are not walking alone. You never were. God is not behind you shouting instructions. He is beside you, holding your hand, whispering, "I'm here. I've always been here, and I won't let you fall now." The vault is open. The scroll is sealed. The angels are in motion. The blessing is on the way, and your name is still on it. Welcome to your divine release. Walk in it now with boldness, with peace, and with praise. Closing prayer, I step into covenant with the God who kept me. God of all time, of all mercy, and all glory, I come before you. Now, not as a beggar, but as one whom you have called. I do not kneel in fear. I stand in surrender, not because I understand everything, but because I trust the one who wrote the end from the beginning. You have spoken over me, and I choose to believe that your voice holds more authority than every lie that's ever tried to drown me. I receive this word not as a passing encouragement, not as wishful thinking, but as a sacred decree that bears your seal. I know now this is my moment. This is my divine release. This is what you prepared me for when no one else saw me bleeding behind closed doors. Thank you, God, for not leaving me in the places I was dropped, for not forgetting me in the seasons I forgot myself, for not canceling your call when I collapsed in shame, in weariness, in silent despair. You stayed. You watched. You waited. You wove every failure into the fabric of my story and made it part of the foundation you're now building upon. I see it now. What I thought were delays, were designs. What I thought were losses were layers. And what I thought broke me was actually birthing something holy inside me. So today I don't just accept this word, I step into covenant with it. I speak aloud that I am ready, ready to carry the wealth, not just in finances but in wisdom. Not just in influence, but in intimacy. I will not treat this release as common. I will not walk into it casually. I recognize the weight of this calling. I feel the fire of the scroll you've written with my name upon it. And I say with trembling joy, Let it be done unto me, according to what you have spoken. You did not bring me this far to tease me. You preserved me to entrust me. You tested me to refine me, and now I rise not in pride, but in reverent obedience. Father, I release the old. I release the shame. I release the timelines I placed on you, the false narratives I built to protect myself, the weariness that clung to me like a second skin. I step out of hiding. I step out of survival mode. I step out of bitterness and small thinking and inherited fear, and I step into fullness, into covenant, into royal alignment. I will not shrink to fit a version of me you have already outgrown. I will not rehearse what hurt me when you are trying to crown me. Cover me now, Holy Spirit. Saturate my soul in a fresh baptism of clarity, humility, and fire. Guard this word. Let it not be stolen by distractions, delay, or doubt. Let it be written on the walls of my heart. Etch it into my sleep. Breathe it over my atmosphere. Let my footsteps echo with the rhythm of this moment that heaven has opened, that angels have been released, that my name has been called, and that the vault has been unlocked. I thank you, God, for choosing me not because I was strong, but because I was willing, for seeing what I would become, even when I couldn't see beyond my current pain. For every tear, I cried, thank you for recording it. For every silent yes, I whispered in the dark, thank you for remembering it. For every time I could have walked away, but didn't I thank you for turning those decisions into spiritual keys that now open doors no man can shut? And so I declare I am ready. I am aligned. I am surrendered. I will carry this blessing. I will protect this calling. I will walk boldly, not to impress the world, but to reflect your glory. Use me, God, to release healing where I once needed it. Use me to break chains that once bound me. Use me to lift others with the same hands you restored. Let my story become a sanctuary for the weary. Let my testimony silence the enemy's accusations. Let my voice become a trumpet for your kingdom. This is not hype. This is holy. This is not emotionalism. This is eternal. I belong to you, not just in the valley, but on the mountain. Not just in brokenness, but in breakthrough. Not just when I am desperate, but when I am full. And I vow this when the phone call comes, when the door opens, when the transfer hits, when the opportunity arrives, I will not forget you. I will not take credit. I will not worship the gift. I will honor the giver. I will build what you tell me to build. I will bless whom you send me to bless. I will give like someone who has seen the face of God and survived. Let the heavens bear witness. Let the angels confirm it. Let the earth make room. I am not waiting for breakthrough. I am walking in it. I am not begging for favor. I am moving with it. I am not doubting the scroll. I am living it. In the matchless, mighty, miracle-working name of Jesus, I seal this moment. I step into it. I give you everything. Amen.